Hello and welcome back to Feed the Beast Ultimate for Minecraft version 1.4.7. Today we'll be working on that chart that I showed at the end of last episode. So as you saw in that chart, we need to start working our way towards the Stark bees. But in order to do that, we need to go through each of the separate branches. And the left side, unfortunately, is mainly desert, or perhaps fortunately, which is why I chose this location. But I'm going to do those second, because the right side is shorter and doesn't require me going into the nether or anything more complicated like that. But in order to do that, we need to get the first of the bees, and the first of them is the common, which is made by any combination of the normal bees you get from hives, i.e. this one. And then because of the necrotic frames, apologies, they will die super quickly. It's a little bit morbid, but with their deaths, they will give rise to new generations and hopefully, in so doing, produce the common bees which I need. And then after we get common, we can combine them once again with drones of the standard hives, and then that will produce the cultivated bees. So we'll look at this and say, okay, there we go. Meadows drone with common and common princess. Amazing. So what we'll do is we'll put the common drone with the common princess in here, and focus on creating more of those drones. And then while that goes, we will put in a Meadows Princess here. And then all of these other things, all these other bees, I'll simply deposit back into the Apier's bag because they are no longer relevant to any of our productions. So we'll wait to fill these until we get common. So this is the process that I'll go through. Every time I get a bee, the next stage, I will try and fill each of these apiaries with it so that I can have it and save a pair of them in this chest. So I'll have a set of a common princess and a common drone there that I can save, and then hopefully be able to replicate that. We've begun to produce common bees, and next on the chain is actually to produce cultivated bees. However, there is a crucial ingredient which I am missing, which is the valiant bee listed in the next step on the right side. This bee is found by breaking any hive and drops at a 5% chance. So I'll introduce a little clip here to show you me running around in the Golden Child world to collect these bees. There we are. Using the scoop, I now have a Valiant Princess, which is very good. I also recovered the Steadfast Drones that I need, which are only accessible through loot chests. You get them only from, like, dungeons or the, whatever you want to call those sort of Stonehenge type structures that Thaumcraft introduces. Then we will see here we have it. Oh, well, we got one of the things we're looking for already, which is cultivated. That's the next stage of this chain. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I can't really argue with that at all. So what we'll do is we'll try and create more of these. Now, I will put in a common princess with that cultivated drone as such to leave it going. We'll see if we can try and create more of these cultivated bees. That, or if we skip straight to the next step, I am not as bothered by that as maybe I should be. I don't mind skipping ahead and leaving behind something. Let's see, we have Diligent Princess and Cultivated Drone. That is actually the next step. Diligent is what we were looking for. I might as well just speed to the top. I mean, these lower tier bees I can recreate. So we're going to try and create the next stage of bee, which is called Charmed, which is a combination of Diligent and Valiant. Okay, amazing. I actually just shut off the the recording, and then immediately this second one that I had put in produced the next stage, which is the Charmed. So we need to try and create more of these if possible. We'll toss in one with that and Valiant to try and make Enchanted more so. Let's see, we made Sugar somehow. We have another Valiant with a Diligent. Let's try and do that to try and make the next sort of line. We have Charmed once again, so we'll put in Charmed with a Valiant to try and make the Enchanted. All right, so we've been at this for some time now, and I continue to produce these things as much as I can using the Enchanted and Charmed and so on. I have produced some of what I need, so if we combine these, we can leave this out here, I suppose, and then try with the princess that I got. Now, I do have two now, which is good. So the next one of these that, if they don't produce another supernatural thing, I can try and put it in there and create it. But that means that if I can create a stable line of the supernatural, that I actually have the entire right side completed, and that means that I can begin moving on to the left. Oh, hey, Nice. Okay, supernatural and supernatural. There we are. Since we have already made cultivated in the past when we were working on the right side of this chart, now that we're on the left, we can skip straight to making the sinister bee line. Naturally, I can't have a plan that works completely flawlessly, and I realized that I completely ignored the part of my diagram that said these bees had to be done in the nether. So we will place a modest with a cultivated, once again, modest and cultivated. Now we can actually begin to try and make these sinister bees. Let's see. Hey, we got sinister. Excellent. Okay, we can just go straight ahead with my plan. This is much more arduous. Arduous? I can't speak properly. I sound like I'm from Dutchland. Captain de Holland here. I'm from the Dutchland. No. What I'm trying to do is, really, this is awful. I'm struggling greatly with this. A lot more than I really should be, I feel like. So weird looking. Okay. No flowers. What are you talking about? There's all kinds of flowers here. There's literally every type of flower. Oh. Okay, it worked. Excellent. Thank you for attending. Okay. Modest, done. Excellent. I won't put those in just yet. Sinister is exactly what we want. We can't do cultivated, but we can do that. And then sinister. Nice. Okay, we got all kinds. We're producing sinister. Excellent. Sinister bees. To produce the next stage, which is fiendish, we need sinister and modest. So, thankfully, we have a great deal of sinister drones here. So, and also modest drones. So what I might do is look for some more modest princesses and then put them in there with the sinisters and see what I can do. This has run. Are they dead? Yep, all the bees are dead. Excellent. So, we now have this. Hostile environment. You are the most picky bees. I have provided everything that you could ever need. I will experience no greater fury than I do towards bees. He's got a bunch of garbage that I can't actually use, so frick you, cultivated, you're a failure. Oh, look, there he is. There's the guy I was talking about. God, I can hear you from that far away. Why do you cry so loud? Oh. Well, that's weird. Alright. Fiendish drone. Nice. Modest with sinister. Let's see. Fiendish drone. Modest. Sinister. Fiendish princess. Nice. That made me feel better, killing those jelly babies. Owned. Alright, I'm gonna keep working on this. You don't need to see anything more, right? You know, this mod's pretty cool, but it's also just such a grind, and it's kind of boring. Like, you're just sort of rolling dice. Like, I don't know what to think of it. It's also just freaking weird. Like, just, oh, demon bee. Ah, I picked it up. But like, the most powerful creature in all the world is a demonic bee. Ooh, spooky. Good lord, I think I've spent enough of my life on bees. I want to be done. We're so close, okay, to getting what I need, alright? I got the last two, mysterious and esoteric. I used up the steadfast and all that. Demons, whatever. It's a process, but we're nearly there. Demonic and the heroic bees, which were there. Arcane, we've got it. Come on, bees, I know you wanna. So all we need, right? We have arcane, and we have esoteric, or whatever, arcane and supernatural. So what that means is that looking here at the Stark bees, arcane and supernatural together will make the bee that I need, which is these Stark bees. We're gonna make these gosh dang arcane bees. If it's the last thing that I do. Ah! Alright, so I grabbed the supernatural out of here just because I was tired of producing these, so I've just thrown in supernatural and arcane in various combinations over and over again. Sometimes you produce, like, look at that, I produced an arcane princess somehow, but that's fine because they just sort of alternate between themselves. Like, look at that arcane princess, and then I could toss in a supernatural with that. I'm going to finish this today. Swear to God. Alright, come on, please. Something I can work with. Supernatural, great. Arcane with supernatural once again. By the way, the percent chance of this is 8%, so that holy shit, I actually got it. Oh, okay, quick. Make more. Make more of them, please. And you don't even know why I'm making these yet. That's the funny thing. It's all to you. I just am a crazed madman out in the desert making. Oh, hey, I actually made another Stark Princess. Okay, I've only been at this for a little while now, and I've somehow made a perfect bee. This is the perfect Stark drone. It always produces two of the exact same offspring, so that is just the most ideal case. Further research into this so-called Stark bee has provided you with insight into how a bee may become infused with elemental energy, or the raw essence of magic itself. Yes, seems appropriate and useful. So, Thaumic bees. What you can do is I can create a bee capable of producing the various shards that I require for Thaumcraft. Now, the one I'm most interested in right now is fire. So, all we need to do this is Potentia, an Ignis, and a Stark drone, as well as a Stark princess. Put that in there. And then now, when I toss in 20 coal, I know it's not precise, but I'm not in the mood for being precise right now because I've been at this for so long, I can make the Ignis drone. And there we are. So now we have the Ignis princess and the Ignis drone. I can return home. And the last thing I'm going to do is come here and grab some sticks and string and go like so and make 3 of these untreated frames. Now, previously, I've used the necrotic frames. However, because I now am trying to get the products of these bees rather than to go through their breeding processes, I can instead use the untreated frames. Now, there's a number of frames available in forestry, but they all are equivalent in functionality. The only thing they change in is their durability. So there's no really real point for me to use anything besides these. So now with these in place, everything I have will now work. So we can leave these here and they will begin to produce. Ow. Now, I didn't expect that to set me on fire. Ha! That's kind of cool, actually, that the Ignis bees do that. Now, the Stark bees are useful in their own right because they are able to produce what's referred to as dual shards. Now, dual shards, the best way to explain them is to understand how the aura process works, which is that whenever aura is low in the atmosphere, it will do whatever it can to replace it. So aura nodes will share their magic in between them, but also in the atmosphere, the infused stone that's in the ground will try to eject its magic into the atmosphere in order to replenish the aura. And so what happens when that occurs is that the infused stone is no longer infused and instead becomes dull. And so it becomes, gray and somewhat, powerless, but it has the capability to absorb magic. And so that is a relatively unique and useful function. And so being able to have that at my disposal sounds very good. And so the Stark drones are capable of producing that. Now, the Ignis drones, of course, or the Ignis queens, produce fiery combs. Now, I haven't shown this yet. There's one last machine to demonstrate, which is actually the centrifuge. Now, I wish I could stop these things from burning me, but I have no real way of doing that. But if I place the centrifuge in here, and then it should be working. I'm not sure why I fixed it. So now this will run. And as it runs, it will produce things. Now, it has a % chance to produce something called burning propolis. And that has a % chance to produce fire shards. So let's see if I can do this quickly. It's running, and I didn't get it that time. But this is an infinite production of these things. So all I need to do is set it up, and they will continue to run. Now, I have room here for 4 more apiaries, which I very well might fill. And thus, I'll just continue to farm shards of relative types in an effort to produce infinite shards that I can use for my magical experiments. So, I'll leave this running, and then we could see what we could possibly do with it. Ow, stop. Stop burning me. It's terrible. You know what I could do? You are rude. I know this jumps around a lot, but working with bees is kind of a boring process. It's mainly just sitting around for several hours and relying on luck in order to produce any sort of success. And while I have done that, having created the Ignis drones that I need, there is still more to do, and to spare us both, I'm going to finish everything I can with bees in this episode, which will result in a finished structure capable of increasing the production of my bees, because currently, with just the 4 apiaries, they don't produce as much as I need. I continue my work with the bees, and I finally learned the purpose of those Unweary drones, which is that combined with Diligent, they can make, not that one, I believe it is referred to as industrious bees, yes. And also, the combination of Heroic and others can make Imperial. I decided not to go through the process again, just because it is a long and arduous thing, but as you can see, I have a great deal many bees. I have gone through so many of this, but I've also created 3 perfect strands of the Stark Princesses. So this one and this one, they are a pair, as well as this one here. So I'm working on the last of the necrotic frames, and as you can see, this one is very, very productive at making them. So we are now just trying to create all that this has to offer. I also made more clones of the, not the Imperial, the Ignis Queens. I've learned that it's very easy to create purified, in air quotes, lines of bees by having 10 drones of the specific. So all I would do is I would get a Stark Princess with the 10 drones, and then toss in a Mysterious Princess like so, and then feed it through the system 10 times with 10 Stark drones, regardless of what came out. And then that typically is enough to sort of force the bees over into the one that you want. But as you can see, I'm trying to gather the materials from these Imperial Queens, because the production rate of these things is very slow. Like, I'm coming over here, I'm not getting anything out of this, I'm not getting anything out of this. I mean, well, besides the one jelly that I've just gotten, but I need things to move much more quickly. And there's a machine that I can use, well, a machine, it's a sort of a bee house, but a larger variant that is much more productive than these apiaries could ever be. However, in order to do that, I need the materials, and that's hard to come by, and that's why I made these Imperial and Industrious bees to generate them. However, in the meantime, I am stuck with the apiaries, and to make these work faster, I need frames that can produce. Now, the standard frames in forestry, they all are the same. So if I go like so, and I look for frame, let's see. The frames in forestry are these: proven, impregnated, untreated. And the untreated were the ones I made last time with sticks and string. Now, these all are effectively the same, but they all have differing durabilities. But it was only one run through with the Ignis drone before the whole thing had to be, I had to make another set, and so I was like, this isn't good enough. So I made a discovery while looking back through some footage, which is that if I go here, sort of glitchy, and then travel here, I set up a way station to this villager, this apiarist, because he sells proven frames at a really cheap rate. I found this guy in like the first episode or something, so that's pretty fantastic. So I can put this in here and get a proven frame, and I'll see if he has anything more to sell. What does he sell? Apiary for oak wood. It's actually not bad, but anyhow. So each of these is 2 of the apiaries worth. So I have 8 to do, I guess. So I will do 4 sets of these. And then there we go. And I'll probably put in oak wood here at some point just to see if he has any other trades. I wish I had actually done that earlier. It would have saved me the effort of making the others. But I can now return like so. I should probably label those soon. And then I can toss in some of these. Now, they're kind of weird. You have to sort of sort them out in your inventory, it looks like. But we have these. I'll cycle in my Stark drones once again. And then this guy, as well as this. The great thing about the Ignis bees, right, is that sometimes bees have a tendency to sort of backtrack, you might think of it as, where if you have bees of sort of another type that happen to have been bred previously, so cultivated and common, for instance, or any of them that have offspring that share the same ancestry, whenever you put them in here, there's a chance that they would produce previous tiers of bee, you might say. I guess tier is a sort of interesting way of phrasing it when they all have unique and useful properties. But they all run through, and so the great thing about the Ignis bees is that because you forge them with magic, you're technically recreating the entities, and so they don't really have any information stored on them. There's no like NBT data. It's a bit technical, but besides the point, they just don't have any of the previous DNA, and so there's no way for the Ignis drones to sort of migrate. That's not the word. Mutate into other types of bees, and so that makes them really useful sort of workhorses that I can just leave to produce things for me. By the way, to answer the unasked question, the reason that I have regeneration here is because of these imperial the reason I have regeneration is because of these imperial bees. It's kind of cool. These bees all have natural effects. So if I stand here without the salamander's eye, oh, it's not working for some reason. I should be burning. That is the factor of these Ignis bees, is that when you stand next to them, they burn you. Ah, there we go. You also take damage, but the Imperial Queen, the sort of royal bloodline, I guess, of bees, which were produced from the noble line, they give you regeneration. It's awesome. I wonder what sort of other effects you can have outside of these. I thought it was just the products of the bees, but apparently they can have like real effects on terrain and other such elements, which is pretty cool. If I'm to make any more progress with the bees, I'm going to need a new place to store them, as I've discussed the Alveary, but in order to make it, I require some more bronze because I need to make something referred to as the thermionic fabricator, which is quite the mouthful, but there we are. So we have a sturdy casing now, and then with some gold, a chest, and glass, I can make the thermionic fabricator. Now, I've already collected a lot of the materials that I need for this, except I have forgotten one of the most crucial ones, that is glass, so I will quickly run back to my home and gather that. I'm not sure how much glass I need in order to run this, but if we place this here and then rotate this around so that it's facing it, and then I grab a bucket, I can fill this with water, then place this in here like so, and it will start to work. And this will slowly build up heat here once I have all of this in place. Now, I believe that I can just do it like so, and it should work, potentially. But yes, so we can put in some glass as well, so we'll put in a bit of that. And then once this reaches a level that is suitable, I'll put in 12 for now, just to see if this works. But all this does is, rather than relying on energy, it relies on heat. So this engine, so long as it fires, it will increase the heat within the thermionic fabricator, and then once it passes this threshold, you will be able to actually make use of the machine. So once it passes that, it should be any time now, hopefully. So long as this remains. Now I will be filling this with more water just to ensure that it keeps running, because the second that engine stops, it will be no longer. But there we are. So we have some glass in there. We have these, so I can recover the 12 golden electron tubes that I require for when I make the Alveary, because the Alveary is advanced compared to most other storages for bees in that there are upgrades for it. Now, the most important for me are the lighting upgrade, which means that it will run at night, unlike the rest of my other bees, and also the rain shield, which will guarantee that it runs no matter what the weather is. Now, of course, these require the normal Alveary casings, which require the scented paneling and impregnated casings. Impregnated casings are just wood and seed oil, as we use to make the apiaries, but scented paneling requires honey, royal jelly, pollen, and beeswax, as well as wood. Now, beeswax is easy enough. That's pretty much from any bee. Wood I have in excess, and the royal jelly and the pollen I gather from these imperial and industrious bees, if I look here. So I will be collecting pollen as necessary to make it, and then to create the actual scented plating, you do also need honey. Thankfully, I have the honeydew, which is produced by imperial bees, and so when you use that in the squeezer, you can produce a great deal more honey than you could otherwise. So it will be very easy to make these. The other thing that is possible is frame housing. So if we look at this, frame housing takes 3 of these, which is why I made so many of the electron tubes, and iron ingots, and the Alveary as well. And these function in the way that you can hold the frames. So I can put the proven frames in there and generate things that I need. Now I do have the materials to make the first of the scented plating, so let's just try and do that. So we'll withdraw some honeydew out of here. I guess I can get that firing for that last one. And then put in the honeydew here. Right-click this to fix it so it continues to pump. And then this will now run and create honey. So that's fantastic. This should be producing like so. And then when I pull this out, it will pull it into the pipe. And then I can do this, and it will place it into here. And then, let's see. More resources needed. Let's see. I have wood, I have pollen, I have beeswax. I guess I just need more honey. Requires energy. Oh, I'm an idiot. And yay, we have our first scented plating. So that whole terrible process, I have to do that 100 something times. Let's see. I need 8 of these for every alveary. And I need 27 alvearies. So I need 216 of these scented platings. So I'm going to be here for 3 calendar years. Look at that. We only need 214 now. So we're, oh god, I'm going to be here for so long. It's going to be unbelievable. This really is quite pretty, all the bees, isn't it? I actually can see it from my house now, the sort of the plume of clouds that sort of fly overhead. But I have the materials now. I actually managed to get enough to make the first of my frames, and I do have a little bit more. I really actually need honey now. I'm really glad I just slept, but it looks like rain is still... Is it going to clear up? Oh, amazing. Okay, good. So my people will still work. Oh, look, I have more pollen, actually. That's great. So I could put that in there, and we have enough for a little bit more now. So all I need to do is funnel these dripping combs in, and then I should be able to get more of the honeydew that I need. So look, we have more pollen there. I can put in, let's see, we'll run this, and then I can put in the dripping combs and hopefully get what I need. But for the first of the things, I can actually do it now. So we will put in the scented plating and the impregnated casing like so to get an alveary, the first of many. And then the last thing, I guess I will do these in order. So the first one I will make is, all it takes is 3 bricks and 1 golden tube, or perhaps 2. Let's see, yes, and that will make the rain shield. So yeah, now it's just a matter of waiting. Really, the main holdup is probably going to be, I need beeswax, I need everything in large quantities. Now there is one thing that I do know, which I haven't disclosed yet, which is the fact that these, I put these 2 blocks away from each other because I thought it would look nice. But bees, actually, they can operate directly next to each other in quite easily. So what I might end up doing is temporarily go into that world again, the sort of golden child world, as I've called it, and just create a long line of alvearies and then breed up more imperials, because these are all perfect and they're producing so many of them. And I'll just go in there and then produce a huge amount of these in a line. And it's not going to be anything pretty, but it will be functional and it will do what I need it to do. Of course, getting beeswax, I wanted to expedite it as best as I could, and actually you can look at what combs produce beeswax and also the percent chance that they have of producing it. So by looking through them, I was able to find that some of them have a much higher chance, like some are 90%. And so now I'm looking to see if there are any with a 100% chance of producing beeswax. And from my supposition, I think that these that show no percent chance mean that it has a 100% chance of producing it. And I know that these cocoa combs can actually be produced by the heroic bees, which I already used once in order to create the industrious bee or the imperial, something like that. I forget now because it's been so long. So I'll just grab those bees out of my bags and then throw them in to the other world and produce beeswax and royal honey and all at a massive rate, because I can buy apiaries for 24 oak wood, which is easy to get with my axe, and the proven frames, which I can get in sets of 6, I have emeralds to produce. So I'm just going to go set up a huge line, and I'll be back in a couple days when I actually have everything I need to make the alveary. I can't believe that I never considered this before. I mean, this is like the most perfect system. You can just line up all these guys in a row, and look at this. We're already getting so many of the cocoa combs that I need in order to make the beeswax. We're also getting the pollen we should be getting out of here. We got, because the royal jelly, we're getting, everything I need And it's all condensed in this one little spot. So it's fantastic. So all I got here is I've got 3 rows of 16. It was a lot of wood. Fortunately enough, I have so many of these Mistcraft worlds that all I need to do is go find one that has oak wood and then draw out my axe and just go boof and get, stacks of wood at a time. I mentioned cutting down trees for oak wood. The easiest source, these big bastards in this world, like literally right across the way from the bees. You probably saw it in the video I showed. But ready for this? You just go. Seem to be kind of struggling a little bit, but there we go. Now we've got a piece that won't. I can actually feel the frames dropping in my game from how much this is cutting. God, I'm gonna be here all day trying to cut this thing down. Why is it taking so long? Is there really that much wood in this tree? My God, there it goes. Oh, it drew it from the top. Okay, that's a lot of wood. Jeez, these are big trees. Okay, well, I'm gonna continue chopping it down, I guess. I thought that I was wasting my time. Genuinely, I was like, okay, this gotta be chopping down something, right? But no, it totally is chopping down this tree. It was just all at the top. Oh my God, that's so much wood. That's unbelievable. I feel a bit bad, honestly. I mean, this tree's still going down. I feel like I'm cutting down Home Tree from Pandora or Avatar. Like, jeez. I've been at this for several minutes now. I hope you understand. I mean, I've sped it up in post, but this has been a long tree to cut down. It's kind of, I've got that like gambler's fallacy thing going though now, where I'm like, oh, I've been at this for so long, I have to see it through, even though it's kind of a waste of my time. Oh God, there it goes, all the wood. Okay, we finally cut down the entire tree. And we have definitely more than enough wood for what I need. Oh my God. Many days later, and now I finally have all that I need to make the rest of the alvearies. Building this alveary is a fairly simple process, but I'm going to do it a little bit more specifically. So what we'll do is we'll place down a rain shield here with the lighting on top of it, and then we can place frame housing. Now, I do have quite a lot of these, so I guess we should place them in some arrangement like so. And then I wish I had one more of these, honestly, but I guess we'll leave it around the back. So there we go. Now we have this all done up, and we can fill out the top layer like so. And then by placing these spruce slabs atop this, we can now right-click. Ah, and there we are. So it finally assembled, and now we have our alveary complete. So then we can place in a ignis queen like so, and it will begin to produce as normal. But what you'll see is that I have much more room to place objects within here. So I could place frames in every single one of these, a total of 11 frames, which I believe I actually still have in place from here. Yes, so all we do is we go like so with one frame, two, and let's fill all of these other ones. There we are. So now this will continue to produce, and as you can see, it has already produced 2 fiery combs, which is pretty fantastic considering that it has run for all but, 3 seconds or whatever. So, and we have another 4th one already. So this is now how I will create the anything that I want with the bees. So I can put in, oh wow, I actually still have some of these generating in there. I guess I must have ran out of lava. But all I will do is I'll leave this running, and I'll pump it full of frames, and then leave it, and then come back like a day later and have all the fiery combs that I could ever possibly work with to create my plans. I will run this for many, many days, and then, well, I say many days, it'll be like half an hour, but all I have to do is go AFK here, and then I'll come back once that bee is dead, which will take longer now with the temporal frame, I guess, and then we'll have so many of these fiery combs that I won't know what to do with it, and I'll have infinite fire shards, and it'll be sweet, sweet victory.